Eric Daniel Pierre Cantona is a French actor, director, producer, and former professional footballer. Often regarded as one of the greatest players of his generation, Cantona is credited as having made Manchester United a dominant force in English football in the 1990s, and has legendary status at the club. Cantona was born in Marseille on May 24, 1966. Cantona played for Auxerre, Martigues, Marseille, Bordeaux, Montpellier, Nîmes, and Leeds United before ending his career at Manchester United, where he won 4 Premier League titles in 5 years and 2 League and FA Cup doubles. He wore the iconic number 7 shirt at Manchester United, and was known for turning up his collar, a trademark look. He is also affectionately nicknamed by Manchester United fans as King Eric and Quat. Cantona won the league championship in 7 of his last 8 full seasons as a professional. At international level, he played for the France national team and scored 20 goals in 45 matches. In 2003, Cantona was voted as Manchester United's greatest ever player by Inside United magazine. He was an inaugural inductee into the English Football Hall of Fame in 2002. The museum states that the enigmatic Frenchman was one of the Premier League's most controversial players ever in quad. At the Premier League 10 Seasons Awards in 2003, he was voted the Overseas Player of the Decade. Cantona was inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame in 2021. In 2004, he was named by Pelé in the FIFA 100 list of the world's greatest living players. Charismatic and outspoken, set against Cantona's achievements in football was a poor disciplinary record throughout his career, including a 1995 conviction for the January 1995 incident, an assault on an abusive spectator, for which he received a 2-week prison sentence, reduced to community service on appeal, and an 8-month suspension from football. Cantona's first professional club was Auxerre, where he spent 2 years in the youth team before making his debut on November 5, 1983, in a 4-0 league victory over Nancy. The following year, Cantona was again in trouble because of a dangerous kung fu tackle on Nantes player Michel Der-Zakarian, resulting in a 3-month suspension. This was later reduced to a 2-month suspension as his club Auxerre threatened to make the player unavailable for selection in the national team. Marseille in January 1989 during a friendly game against Torpedo Moscow he kicked the ball at the crowd, then ripped off and threw away his shirt after being substituted. His club responded by banning him for a month. Loans to Bordeaux and Montpellier having struggled to settle at Marseille, Cantona moved to Bordeaux on a 6-month loan and then to Montpellier on a year-long loan. At Montpellier, he was involved in a fight with teammate Jean-Claude Lamolte and threw his boots in Lamolte's face. Returned to Marseille, transferred to Nîmes. Back at Marseille, Cantona initially played well under coach Gerard Gilly and his successor Franz Beckenbauer. However, the Marseille chairman Bernard Tapie was not satisfied with the results, and replaced Beckenbauer with Raymond Goethals. Cantona was continually at odds with Goethals and Tapie and, despite helping the team win the French Division 1 title, he was transferred to Nîmes the following season, for a fee of 10 million francs, signing a 3-year contract. Departure and moved to England on November 6, 1991, after Liverpool's 3-0 victory over Auxerre in the UEFA Cup second leg tie at Anfield. Liverpool manager Graham Souness was met by Frenchman Michel Platini at the end of the game, who told him that Cantona was available for sale to Liverpool. Souness thanked Platini, but declined the offer, citing dressing room harmony as his reason. After being turned down by Liverpool, Cantona was given a trial at Sheffield Wednesday when Wednesday manager Trevor Francis was approached by Platini and Francis' former agent, Dennis Roach. Cantona's arrival at Leeds United was announced in January 1992. Leeds would pay PS 100,000 to Nîmes to take him on loan until 15 April, after which they would have to pay another PS 900,000 to sign him permanently in the 1992 FA Charity Shield that August. With Leeds missing several key players, Cantona scored a hat-trick in a 4-3 victory over Liverpool, the first hat-trick in the Charity Shield since Tommy Taylor in 1957. Cantona's hat-trick places him among the small group of players to have scored 3 or more goals in games at Wembley Stadium. Transfer from Leeds United. The news of Cantona's impending transfer from Leeds to fierce rivals Manchester United was met with hostility from Leeds fans. Cantona left Leeds for Manchester United for PS 1 million on November 26, 1992. Leeds chairman Bill Fotherby had telephoned Manchester United chairman Martin Edwards to inquire about the availability of Dennis Irwin. Edwards was in a meeting with manager Alex Ferguson at the time, and both agreed that Irwin was not for sale. The Frenchman waltzed into the Cliff, United's old training ground, and had teammates in his thrall with barely a word. In his first season, the first of the Premier League era, he cultivated what would become the hallmarks of United for 2 decades: attacking football, ingenuity, aggression, and an utter insistence on winning. As Paul Ince recalled, he just had that aura and presence. He took responsibility away from us. It was like he said, "I'm Eric, and I'm here to win the title for you." 1993-94 was the first season of squad numbers in the Premier League. Cantona was issued with the number 7 shirt, a squad number he kept for the rest of his United career, and which already had iconic status, having previously been worn by club legends including George Best and Brian Robson. On January 25, 1995, he was involved in an incident that attracted headlines and controversy worldwide. In an away match against Crystal Palace, Cantona was sent off by the referee for kicking Palace defender Richard Shaw after Shaw had frustrated Cantona throughout the game by closely marking him. As he was walking towards the tunnel, Cantona launched a kung fu-style kick into the crowd, directed at Palace supporter Matthew Simmons, who had run down 11 rows of stairs to confront and shout abuse at Cantona. Simmons was alleged to have used the bad language. Cantona followed the kick with a series of punches. A lengthy ban from the game was regarded as inevitable, with some critics calling for Cantona to be deported and never allowed to play football in England again, while others called for him to be banned from football for life. As well as disciplinary action from his club and the FA, Cantona was also faced with a criminal charge of assault, which he admitted to on 23 March, resulting in a 2-week prison sentence, although he was freed on bail pending an appeal. This was overturned in the appeal court a week later, and instead he was sentenced to 120 hours of community service. At a press conference called later, Cantona said, in a slow and deliberate manner, "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much." And quote. Cantona then got up from his seat and abruptly left, leaving behind him a packed media room surprised and baffled. Some roared with laughter, with those in the room trying to decipher his cryptic words. In his comeback game against arch-rivals Liverpool on October 1, 1995, Cantona set up a goal for Nicky Butt 2 minutes into the game, and then scored a penalty after Ryan Giggs was fouled to secure a point for United in a 2-2 home draw. However, 8 months without competitive football had taken its toll, and Cantona struggled for form prior to Christmas. By 24 December, the gap between United and league leaders Newcastle had increased to 10 points. However, after defeat to Tottenham on New Year's Day, United went unbeaten for 12 consecutive league matches, including Cantona's first visit to Selhurst Park since he was banned, during which he scored twice in a 4-2 win over Wimbledon. Victory over Arsenal on 20 March, with Cantona scoring the only goal of the game with a 25-yard half volley, saw United overtake Newcastle in the title race, where they would remain for the rest of the season. The goal came as part of a personal scoring run of 6 consecutive league matches for Cantona, 4 of which saw him score the game's only goal. He scored the 5th in a 5-0 win over Nottingham Forest on the penultimate day of the season, a result that meant that United realistically only needed to avoid defeat at Middlesbrough on the final day. They won 3-0 to secure their 3rd league title in 4 years. Cantona finished the season as the club's top scorer with 14 goals from 30 league appearances. Cantona's ban meant he was not eligible to appear in their League Cup or UEFA Cup campaigns, but he did score in 4 of United's 6 matches on the way to the 1996 FA Cup final against Liverpool, their 3rd in a row in the competition. Cantona wore the armband for the final and took on the captain's responsibility by volleying in the only goal of the game from the edge of the 18-yard box in the 86th minute after Liverpool had failed to clear a corner. United's victory made them the first club to win the double twice and Cantona the first FA Cup winning captain from outside the British Isles. United retained the league in the 1996-97 season. Cantona had won 4 league titles in 5 years with the team, and 6 in 7 years including those won with Marseille and Leeds, the exception being the 1994-95 season, which he had missed the second half of through suspension. At the end of the season he announced that he was retiring from football at the age of 30. His final competitive game came against West Ham on May 11, 1997, and his final appearance before retiring was 5 days later on 16 May in a testimonial for David Buss. Cantona scored a total of 82 goals in less than 5 years. In his 1999 autobiography Managing My Life, Alex Ferguson claimed that Cantona had informed him of his decision to retire from playing within 24 hours of Manchester United's Champions League semi-final defeat to Borussia Dortmund, though the decision was not made public for almost a month afterwards. During that time, there had been speculation about his future at Manchester United, including talk of a move to Real Zaragoza of Spain. In 1997, Cantona unexpectedly announced his retirement from football at the age of 30. He pursued a career in cinema and had roles in the 1998 film Elizabeth, starring Cate Blanchett, the 2008 film French Film, and the 2009 film Looking for Eric.